Here I am behind the Times House Bed and Breakfast in Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania. My aunt and uncle own the Times House, so I get this little cool path behind that I get to check stuff out. But there's a great view of the town up here, and there's so much history. I'm panning the camera because this little place on the hill is the Packer Mansion. That guy basically built the railway and everything up here, and there's just so much haunted lore and folk tales and history in this place that I actually started writing my first book up here. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about it when I get back in the studio. Okay, I'm back in the studio. This is episode 2 of Think Sip Write. I'm Rick Pepito, and I'm talking about the town of Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania. It has been voted as number 4 by Rand McNally as far as places to see that have scenic views in the U.S. It has also been voted number 7 by Budget Travel magazine in 2009. So that alone is impressive in itself. But all the history behind the town and some of the really cool spooky tales definitely make it a place worth seeing. Not to mention that there's things up there to do like fishing, whitewater rafting, paintball. There's all kinds of really cool things that you can do. But even in the off season, this town has a lot to offer as far as tours and neat things to see. One of the places is the Carbon County Jail. Now it's up the street a little bit, but it's within walking distance of the center of the town. And there's a handprint on the wall there of one of the guys who was killed there, one of the inmates. And supposedly they keep painting over this. And it keeps reappearing. They've even knocked down a wall and supposedly built it back up, according to legend. And the handprint is still there. So it's kind of become like a landmark in itself. The outside of the place is just structurally amazing. I love the old Gothic look to buildings, and that's pretty much what this town has. Like I said, my aunt and uncle own the Times House up there, which used to be a printing press building. There was a newspaper run out of there. The Inn at Jim Thorpe has been there for ages. There's tales of someone who I believe either committed suicide or was murdered there, some woman, and there's a lot of haunting tales going there. So the whole feel of the town is really what got me into writing in the first place and came up with some of my original ideas. The Molly Maguires were a big connection in town there. So most of the population of the people that live there are Irish and Italian. But there's a whole mix of people now just because it's constantly a tourist attraction. And it's a good one at that. The old feel of the town alone kind of takes a step back from modern society. You know, it's out in that area where there's a lot of mountains. So you get to appreciate nature for more of what it is out there. It used to be a mining town. There's some old railways that are no longer there. There's an old railway tunnel. A lot of paths and everything. Great hiking up there. It was originally called Mauch-Chunk, the town. And now Mauch-Chunk, that term, is like a Lenape, Delaware Indian name for Bear Mountain or Bear Place. It's like I'm plugging this place. They should be paying me for this. Anyway, so the town was renamed Jim Thorpe after the death of the Olympic winner Jim Thorpe. His wife was really upset with the government when that happened, and she made a deal with the town to incorporate his name and kind of like a memoriam to him. If you go up there, the Carbon County Jail, like I said, the Packer Mansion that I showed in the video, he's the guy that built the railways. And there's underground passages from one mansion to the other. There's a couple mansions up on that hill, but the tour itself is really cool. They haven't changed anything inside other than keeping it preserved. The whole total area of the town is about 15 square miles, which isn't very big at all. It's got a smaller population. Other than looking at the history of the place, I just kind of wanted to give you an idea of what inspired me up there. One night I was staying, and it was early in the morning. My daughter at that time, she was only an infant, and she always slept right away. We could put her down. She was the easiest baby in the world. And one night when we set her down up there, she started giggling and looking into the corner of the room. Now, I wasn't thinking anything of it, so I was just amazed that she had still been up at such a late hour. And I walked over, I was talking to her, and I looked, and she was looking past me at the one wall. And so I walked over to the area where she was looking, and it was a little colder there. I could actually see my breath at that point. Now, it was December, but the house was warm. She finally went to sleep after laughing for about 25 minutes. I went to sleep, and I woke up at about 3 in the morning and heard noises downstairs. So I figured everybody was still up partying. Walked to the top of the steps, and I see people moving. I see shadows on the ground. There's a lot of light that came in the windows. So I'm walking down the steps because I got to use the restroom. And when I get down there's nobody down there. There's 2 bathrooms at the end of this long hallway. One is straight ahead and one's to the left. And I use the one to the left. When I went into the one to the left, the door to the one straight ahead was wide open. So I went in there, not thinking anything of it. There was no more voices. When I was done and I left, I noticed that the door to the other bathroom was now closed where it was open before. So me being me, I just pushed the door open and looked inside. There was nobody in there. Other people that have stayed up there have had similar experiences. Not that that's anything spectacular, but it was enough to inspire me writing-wise. But a lot of the people that I've talked to have said they've woken up with some really intense dreams, or they thought they heard somebody or felt things up there. It's just the feel of the whole town. And I think the lure behind the town and all these so-called hauntings may actually create some of that, but it's not a terrifying feeling. You know, what I felt that night, you know, and I've been skeptical, but I've also been a believer of that kind of stuff too. So me being someone who's kind of in the middle, I'm open to it, and I wasn't terrified. So it was never a bad feeling, but other people in other places, like supposedly people that stay at the one inn, they get this terrifying feeling from this one room, and they don't typically rent out that room. So I advise check it out. Also, if you like this video, please subscribe, click like. If you have any ideas or comments, comment below or email me. I'll have all my information in the links. Make sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I will look forward to doing episode 3 soon.